So I had a dream last night, and so in the beginning, what happened was me, my mom, and my sister, we had went to a safari like zoo place, and when we had went there, it was small, and all of the animals were in like you go to a zoo and it'll be like in a little zoo area for their animals. And first, I remember seeing a hyena, another animal next to it, and another animal, and I can't remember those animals. And then across from the walk pathway, there was a giraffe. And my mom was like, let's go see the giraffe. And then she said, no, because it's my turn to pick which animal we want to see first, because we had went to a safari before and my mom had did all the picking, so it was my turn to pick. And I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and just see the giraffe since it's right here and you want to see it. And so we went to see the giraffe, and then I think it was my sister, she pointed out that there was a tour guide, and she was like, look over there, there's this tour area you can go in. And so we went, me and my sister and my mom, we went up there to go see how to like get to this tour. And I remember going up there, we had saw how much everything was, and the park, like how much, like the safari zoo park area, how much it was really, really expensive. For two people daily, it was $98. And then a monthly plan, it was like 2000 and something. And I remember thinking, I remember thinking that my mom just had $2,000 in her pocket that she could easily pay, and we had money. And she we was on the monthly plan because it was three of us, and it was easier that way just to be on that plan to pay 2000. I think it was 2158. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was that. And we just had that money. So first, me and my sister and my mom, we were inside of the waiting room, sort of. It was like it was made out of little bamboo straws and stuff like that, and it just looked like a safari area. And that's what we had to wait for, the safari tour thing to come by. And it was one of those like little seating things that you strap onto an animal, and you could go inside and see the tour. And so me, my sister, and my mom, we went inside to go and sit down so we can get on our tour. And my mom had sat by the window because what happened was the area that we went inside of, it was completely boarded up, and it had just little square windows. I think they were literally like exactly like this big and like this wide. And so we had went, and my mom had sat by the window, and I was thinking like I really wanted to sit by the window, but it was okay. And then one of the ladies who was in charge of the safari, she had told us, she said that we had to have a certain type of cloth to cover our faces because the tour was going to go in places that were like poison. It had poison places, and it had toxic air, so we had to have the mask. And me and my mom didn't have the mask, and so we had my mom, only me and my mom, we had to go back and go find our mask. We left my sister there, and by the time we got our mask, we turned around and we saw that the tour had already went. And on the earth that we are in now, like me being awake, this earth, you would be scared of that. Like your little kid is going off. But me and my mom in the dream, we were like, it's fine. She's okay. She's with good people. Like, we were like, it's fine. Everything's okay. And all of a sudden, like literally like in a blink of an eye, the safari area was huge. Like, this place was gigantic. Like, it went around probably like miles and miles and miles. Like, it was huge. And the animals, like the animals that we have now on this earth that we're on now, like regular giraffes, the little penguins, and the macaroni penguins. I mean, the king penguins. Sorry, I call it macaroni. They were all there. And those type of animals, they weren't in captivity. Like the giraffe, it did have a gate, but you can go in the gate. It was fine. But it just had its little area. And the penguins, they didn't have a gate at all. Like you can just walk over there into their territory. And that's what my mom did. She walked over there and she just touched the penguin like it was nothing. But then there were animals there that are not on this earth. Like there was this one group of animals that I saw those, and they were in captivity. Like they were inside of they had a gate to cover them, and you could not go over there. And I remember thinking I didn't even want to go up to that gate. Like they were not good animals, and like they all had their backs turned towards me, and they were all cuddled up like penguins do when they're cold, and they like cuddle up together. And that's what they were. They were just huddled up together. And you could see the back of them, and in the back of them, they looked normal, like normal penguins. But the sign didn't, it was a sign that started with an A and had an F in it, and it was not a penguin that we have on this earth. And I remember I couldn't see his face, but I remember like in the spiritual realm, I was able to see his face. And it did turn over to the side just a little bit, but I remember I was able to see his whole entire face. And I mean, like his body may have looked like a penguin, and the back of his head may have looked like a penguin, but his face was not a penguin. Like it had like tentacles, and it had like like a big squared beard, and it was creepy. Like I did not want to go over there. And then we were like, where's Sky? Like, and my mom, well, I pointed out, I was like, this place is pretty big. It's probably going to take them a long time. And then finally, the people who were in the tour is probably going to take the tour people a long time. And then finally, the tour was coming back. We saw it. It was coming back. And then me and my mom had gotten the line for the tour, and there was nobody in the line when we went in the line. We was first in line, everything was good. But once again, the lady in the beginning who told us to get our mask, she asked us again, she's like, do you have your mask? And then we were like, oh no, we left it down there. I think we just left it down the stairs, because there was a lot of stairs, so we had to go up. So we went down the stairs, and then we came back up the stairs, and when we came back up the stairs, this line, I mean, it had millions of people in the line. Well, maybe like thousands, probably like not even a million, but just thousands. And I mean, it was a lot of people. And we were like, we don't want to go to the end of the line. And my mom said, well, here's a gap, because there was a gap in the line. Mom was like, let's just line right here. And I was thinking, like, no, there's people in the line. They're probably going to get mad. My mom was like, they're not going to get mad. They're good people. They're not going to get mad about it. And we're just two people. It's fine. And I still was worried. So I was like, I saw this group of black people. And it was a family, and so I was like, here, let's just line up by them. Let's just get close by them so we can make it look like we're part of their family. And nobody was mad. The people who we lined up next to, they weren't mad. And so finally we get inside of the tour guide thing. I don't even know what it was, but you just sit in there and you can watch the tour. You can see the safari. And so we went inside, and I didn't notice that as soon as you walked inside, it was different from it was before. I didn't notice until I sat down. Like, I had went back to go sit down, and my mom, she didn't sit in the same area that she sat in, and I was happy. I was like, oh, so she's going to let me sit here by the window, because I wanted to sit by the window in the beginning. And so I went over there to go sit down, and I see it had a whole bunch of writing on the chair, and it was like, don't sit here and stuff like that. Like, you can't sit here unless you're a certain type of person. And I was like, but I have to sit here because it was my mom, and then my sister, and then the rest of the black people who we had lined up next to. And I was like, there's nowhere else for me to sit. And so I sat down, and then I did see a chair that was over there that was empty, and I was like, oh, it's right there. But then I looked up, and it was still like thousands of people coming in, and I was like, no, I'm gonna just stay right here, because eventually somebody's gonna have to sit here. And so I'm sitting there, And remember I said the windows were like this and that? But no, when we came in there the second time, the tour place the second time, the windows looked like a normal sheep window, and it had blinds. And so I went to go open the blind, and then I was like, no, let me close it because it's pretty dark in here, and they have them all closed for a reason probably. So I close it. I'm in the middle of closing it, and somebody yells at me and says, hey, close that. Like, they weren't angry really, but they were just like yelling because they were so far away, so I had to yell. And I was thinking like, I'm clearly in the middle of closing it, but I didn't get mad, so I was like, I'm closing it. And I sat down, and I see all these people coming in, and I look over, and I see my cousin, and I was so happy. I was so happy that I saw him. And so I was thinking like I should yell out to him. I should say his name, but then I was like, I don't want to say his name because he's with his friends. Like, I was thinking he was the only other family member that I had that was there. And I was like, well, he's with his friends right now, and I don't want to embarrass him. And then I was thinking, like, I don't care. I haven't seen him in so long. I want to say his name. And then, so I think I was going to say his name, but I don't know, because I had woke up right when I was about to open up my mouth. And the thing is that makes it so emotional is that in real life, I haven't seen my family members in forever, and I've been like really sad about it. I really want to see my family. And when I saw him, I was really happy, and even when I woke up, I was really, really happy that I saw him. Just even in a dream, I saw him, and I was so happy. And then I thought about it. I've had dreams like that before about going, it's like a rapture pretty much. Like, we was in a smaller zoo, and then all of a sudden we was in a bigger zoo, and there was more people that were coming. And the first time we were going, me and my mom were going to go on the tour, and we ended up having to wait a little bit because we forgot the mask. And it's happened before. It's like the dream is telling me to tell others and to think to myself, like, even you may have the love of your life, like you're being raptured and they're still there. Don't look back. Don't go back for them. Like, that happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, the wife, she looked back and she turned into a pillar of salt, and she wasn't able to go with them. So you never know. And then the second time we ended up looking back, and we ended up having to be delayed a little bit, and we still was able to go, but we almost missed it. So don't look back no matter what.